That watch on your wrist, the one that signals taste, success, maybe a little status, started as a tool for coordinating killing. For most of the 1800s, no serious man would wear a watch on his wrist. That was for women, a delicate piece of jewelry they called a wristlet. A real man's watch lived in his pocket, heavy, engraved, on a chain. That was the rule. That was the standard. For 100 years. Then came war. And war, as it always does, had no patience for the rules of polite society. In the colonial wars of the late 1800s, British officers in the field faced a practical problem. They needed to check the time, but their hands were busy, holding a rifle, giving orders, keeping control of chaos. Some officers started strapping their pocket watches to their wrists with leather cups. It looked ridiculous. They did it anyway. Because on a battlefield, a split second matters. But the real change came in 1914, the Great War, the first industrialized slaughter in human history. The Western Front introduced a new tactic, the creeping barrage. Artillery shells would explode in a moving wall just ahead of advancing infantry, close enough to suppress the enemy, far enough that your own men weren't killed by your own fire. It sounds clever. It was also extraordinarily precise. The artillery lifts by 100 yards at exactly this minute. The infantry advances at exactly that second. Get it wrong by 30 seconds, and your own shells kill your own men. Officers had to synchronize watches before every attack, and then read them, instantly, constantly, under fire, without ever taking their hands off their weapons. Reaching into a pocket was impossible. A wristwatch was the only answer. They called them trench watches. And suddenly the feminine wristlet became standard military equipment. By the end of the war, hundreds of thousands of soldiers had worn one. And when they came home, decorated veterans, men who had survived things nobody should, they kept wearing it. The wristwatch that had been mocked as feminine jewelry was now associated with the most masculine thing imaginable, surviving a war. Within a decade, pocket watches were finished. The wrist had won. And here we are. 100 years later, the watch on your wrist is a symbol of taste, achievement, presence. The thing that makes you look put together. It became that because armies needed to time the killing precisely enough that they didn't kill themselves. If that changed how you see the watch on your wrist, give it a like. It genuinely helps the channel. And subscribe to @SecretLifeThings for the hidden history of something else you use every single day.